Hi everyone, welcome back. So guys, as part of this session, I'm going to talk about a constructor. See guys, in the previous session, we have seen a brief overview on a class and we have also studied that a class does has a methods and the variables within that particular class. Of course, we haven't seen any examples on a variables, but before jumping onto the variables, the constructor is the thing that we need to know. And we have studied about the methods, right? A function if we are defining within a particular class, then it's going to be a method and we have a call that particular method. Now let's talk about this constructor. So what is this constructor? This a constructor is a code block. So it's just like a piece of a code. It almost looks like a method. Then, what is the difference between this constructor and as well as a method? Ideally, if you have a look at your methods, you can give your own name to a particular method and you do have a return statement to a particular method. Whereas for this a constructor, you don't have any specific name. Always you need to define it as just a constructor. And of course, you can define the parameters, whatever you are passing for the methods, right? The similar way you can pass on all those parameters for this constructor also. But the thing here is method will return some value, whereas this constructor will not return any value. A method will be returning a value and a constructor will not return any particular value. Okay, and another thing out over here is whenever you are trying to create an object to that class, automatically the constructor is called and the constructor will be executed. So, which means if you create a method within a class, you need to call it explicitly. Whereas for a constructor, you no need to call it explicitly. Automatically, the code present in the constructor would be called. Okay, and the syntax for that particular one here is a constructor followed by the parameters, and you can just write down your desired logic. So here I just created a new class student info 3. I'm just defining it as a student info 3, in which I have a notice that the constructor is having some rule. Okay, constructor. I'm not passing any parameters here. So I just created a point stating that console.log. Okay, console.log. This is a constructor. So guys, if you observe right now, I just created a constructor and it does has only a print statement in it. Now here, I'm creating a method here. This is a method which is having a return statement as a void, right? This method is having a return statement void where I was just creating this is a display method. Okay, I'm just writing it as a this is a display method. So guys, if you compare these two things, the constructor, okay, if you compare this a constructor and a method, the constructor always have this constructor name. Whereas if you look at the method, we can give any name to that method. The method does have a return statement, whereas the constructor don't have any return statements. That's fine. These are the basic comparisons, and there is a one more comparison too. In order to access that particular information, we are gonna create an object, new student info 3. Okay, new student info 3. See guys, I just created an object. Okay, so here new keyword will create an object to the constructor. Let me add it in the comment. Will create an object to that particular constructor, which means it will allocate some memory for this particular class, and with that reference we can access the methods and the properties present in that. Using this new keyword, we can create multiple objects to the same class. Of course, it will also invoke the code present in the constructor. Okay, it will also invoke the code present in the constructor. So guys, if you observe right now, I haven't called that particular method. I just created an object to this. Now, let me try to run this program. And if you look at this let me save it and let me try to run this particular program. And if you look at the console, this is a constructor got a printed. So I haven't called it, but automatically the code present in the constructor got executed. And of course, I can call my desired methods also. It's up to my wish. And I'm just executing the content. See, the constructor and the method got executed. Okay, the constructor and the method got executed. The thing here is I haven't called the content present in the constructor. Automatically, the constructor is invoked. Okay, so this is all about a constructor. And ideally, using this constructor, right, you will be passing down the values for the variables that are defined within that particular class. That we will be seeing as part of the next session. As part of the next session, we will see how to create a class in which how to create a variables. How can I use the constructor in passing values to the variables? All those things we will be looking at as part of the next session. Thank you.